All right, so let's dive into Amazon.
Okay.
You know them. I know them. We all know them.
Yeah.
Get that online store. Seems like they sell absolutely everything,
Right.
Fast shipping, endless choices, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
But here's a little twist that's not actually where the biggest profits come from.
Interesting.
Today, we're diving into the real powerhouse
Okay.
behind Amazon's success. And trust me,
Okay.
this might surprise you a little bit.
Looking forward to it.
It's kind of a classic case of don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Most people see Amazon and they think online shopping.
Makes sense.
But the reality of their profit structure is a lot more intriguing.
For sure.
We've got this super interesting article from the Motley Fool,
Okay.
published just a few days ago, November 16th, 2024.
Very recent.
And it really gets into the nitty-gritty of this hidden profit machine. It definitely challenges some assumptions because if you look at Amazon's North American retail segment, they pulled in a massive $95.5 billion in revenue last quarter.
Wow.
That's mind-boggling, right?
Absolutely.
You'd think they'd be swimming in profits with numbers like that.
Yeah, you would think that.
But then the article kind of hits you with this little bomb.
Okay.
Their operating margin for that segment was only 5.9%. So for every $100 they made, they only kept about $6 in profit after costs.
Wow. That's way lower than I would have thought.
Right.
That's interesting.
Way less than I would guess.
Yeah,
It really highlights a crucial point. The world of e-commerce is incredibly competitive.
it is.
Even for a giant like Amazon, maintaining strong profit margins in that space is a constant battle.
Right.
So if online shopping isn't the golden goose, then what is?
Good question.
Enter Amazon Web Services or AWS.
Now we're talking.
This is where things get really interesting. The article laid out some numbers that were pretty much jaw-dropping.
Ready.
Get this. AWS is responsible for a whopping 60% of Amazon's operating profit.
Seriously.
And here's the kicker. It makes up only 17% of their total revenue.
Wow.
That discrepancy speaks volumes
Right.
about the profitability of cloud computing.
It really does.
While their North American retail had that slim 5.9% margin,
Yeah.
AWS boasts a massive 38.1% operating margin.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's over 6 times larger.
Crazy.
So cloud computing is clearly where the big bucks are.
It seems that way.
But why is it such a profitable business model?
Well, I think if you think about it, businesses today are practically drowning in data.
Yeah, they are.
And all that data needs to be stored, processed, and analyzed.
Yeah.
So that's where cloud computing steps in.
Right.
Instead of companies building and maintaining their own expensive IT infrastructure,
Okay.
they can just rent what they need from AWS on an as-needed basis.
Yeah, I see that.
So they're the ultimate utility service.
I like that.
You just pay for the computing power you use.
Right.
And AWS takes care of all the headaches behind the scenes.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And that scalability,
Yeah.
that's a key part of what makes cloud computing so profitable.
Okay.
So as businesses grow,
Uh-huh.
they can easily scale up their cloud usage.
Right.
And AWS just generates more revenue without having to significantly increase their own costs.
So they're just getting more and more money as these companies grow.
Exactly.
And the article mentioned that more and more companies are moving their operations to the cloud, especially with the rise of things like AI,
Oh, yeah.
which is incredibly data hungry.
So data hungry.
It's like a perfect storm for a company like AWS.
It is.
They were one of the first major players in the cloud computing space,
Yeah, they were pioneers.
and they've built a dominant market share over the years.
They have.
I think they're currently ahead of big competitors like Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud.
Wow. Yeah, they are.
So they've got this first mover advantage. Plus, they're continuing to innovate and expand their services.
Makes sense.
It's no wonder they're raking in the profits.
Yeah.
That early lead has been crucial.
Sure.
Building the kind of global infrastructure that AWS has
Yeah.
that requires massive investment
Huge.
and long-term vision.
Absolutely.
It's not something you can just replicate overnight.
No.
It's like building an empire, but instead of land, it's all digital real estate.
I love that analogy. That's a great way to put it.
It's a good one.
It is.
And that brings us to a very fascinating question.
Okay.
What does the future hold for AWS? Will they be able to maintain this dominance? What challenges might they face?
That's the big question.
That's where we'll pick up in part 2
Okay. I can't wait.
of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
It's a cliffhanger.
It is a cliffhanger.
Stay tuned, folks. This is just the beginning of our exploration into the world of cloud computing and the powerhouse that is AWS.
Awesome. I'm excited. Welcome back to our deep dive
Okay.
into Amazon's profit powerhouse.
We left off talking about AWS and its dominant position in the cloud computing market.
Right, like we were saying,
It's like they built this incredible fortress
Yeah.
of servers and data centers.
Mhm.
But the battle for the future of cloud computing is far from over.
Yeah, it's a very dynamic landscape.
Yeah.
Constantly evolving with new technologies and competitors emerging all the time.
Right.
So staying ahead of the curve requires constant, innovation and adaptability.
Yeah. So what are some of the key forces that you see shaping the future of AWS
Okay.
and the broader cloud computing world?
One major factor is the incredible pace of technological advancement.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We're talking about AI, machine learning, Internet of Things,
Mm-hmm.
all generating massive amounts of data that need to be processed and analyzed.
It's almost overwhelming to think about the sheer volume of data being created every second.
It is.
It's like a digital tsunami.
Yeah, it's like a data deluge. And this is really a key driver of cloud computing growth.
Okay.
Businesses need the infrastructure to handle it all.
Yeah.
And AWS is perfectly positioned to provide that.
Yeah. It's like they're building the digital pipelines and reservoirs for this flood of information.
I love that analogy, yeah.
Right.
And as these next generation technologies continue to advance, the demand for cloud computing will only intensify.
So it sounds like AWS is in a good spot to ride this wave.
They are,
But they can't just sit back and relax.
not at all.
Right.
No, the competition is fierce.
Yeah.
Microsoft, Azure, Google Cloud are both, formidable rivals,
Oh, yeah.
constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the cloud.
And we can't forget about some of the up-and-comers like Alibaba Cloud and IBM Cloud.
Right.
They're hungry for a piece of the pie.
Absolutely. The cloud computing market is becoming more diverse, with specialized players emerging to cater to specific industry needs.
Right.
And, this competition is actually a good thing for customers
Yeah.
because it drives innovation and keeps prices in check.
Yeah. It's like the old saying, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Exactly.
Except in this case, it's a rising tide of data lifting all cloud providers.
I like that.
Right? But competition isn't the only challenge AWS faces.
Right.
Security and data privacy
Yeah.
are also major concerns,
They are.
especially as more and more sensitive information gets stored in the cloud.
Yeah.
It's like building a bigger and more tempting target for hackers.
It's a valid concern. AWS invests heavily in security.
Right.
As you know, no system is foolproof.
Right.
The threat of cyber attacks is always going to be there, and they need to constantly adapt and evolve their defenses.
It's a constant arms race, isn't it?
It is.
The bad guys are always trying to find new ways to exploit vulnerabilities, and the good guys are always trying to stay one step ahead.
It's the reality of cybersecurity in the
Yeah.
digital age.
For sure.
And data privacy adds another layer of complexity, with regulations like GDPR and CCPA. AWS has to navigate this complex web of legal requirements
Yeah.
to ensure they're handling data responsibly.
It's like walking a tightrope between innovation and compliance.
It is.
One wrong step, and it could all come crashing down.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance for sure.
Right.
But the companies that can effectively address these challenges and build trust with their customers will be the ones that thrive in the long run.
So it's not just about building the best technology, it's also about building the most ethical and trustworthy platform.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that brings us to a crucial point. The ethical implications of cloud computing are vast and deserve careful consideration.
For sure.
We're talking about technologies that have the potential to reshape society and even, our understanding of what it means to be human.
It's easy to get caught up in the technical marvels and the competitive landscape, but we can't lose sight of the bigger picture.
Who can't?
Right.
So we need to be asking ourselves, how can we ensure that these powerful technologies are used responsibly and for the betterment of humanity?
Right.
What are the potential unintended consequences? These are questions we all need to grapple with.
It's a lot to ponder.
It is.
But that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating.
Really?
That we're not just talking about business and technology.
Right.
We're talking about the future
Yeah.
and the choices we make.
Well said. And as we continue exploring the potential trajectories of AWS and the broader cloud computing landscape, let's keep these larger questions in mind.
Yeah.
The future is not predetermined. It's something we shape through our actions and choices.
Okay, so we've covered the key forces shaping the future of cloud computing,
Yeah.
the challenges and opportunities facing AWS, and the ethical considerations that we need to be mindful of.
Yes.
Where do we go from here?
So in part 3, we'll shift gears and look at some real-world examples of how cloud computing is already impacting various industries, from healthcare to manufacturing to finance.
That sounds fascinating. I'm curious to see how this seemingly abstract concept of the cloud is actually playing out in tangible ways.
Yeah, it's a testament to the versatility of cloud computing and its potential to transform virtually every aspect of our lives.
So for our listeners who are eager to see the cloud in action, stay tuned for part 3, where we'll delve into the specific use cases and real-world applications of this game-changing technology. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been exploring the world of cloud computing, uncovering the surprising profit engine behind Amazon, and kind of peering into the future of this, ever-evolving technology.
Yeah, we've discussed a lot the competitive landscape, the challenges of security and privacy.
Right.
Even the ethical considerations.
Right. But I think sometimes we need to kind of step back from the big picture and see how this stuff's actually playing out in the real world. How is cloud computing actually changing things for businesses and people on the ground?
That's a great point. It's easy to get lost in the abstract.
Right.
When we just talk about the cloud. So let's get concrete.
Okay.
Let's dive into some specific examples of how cloud computing is making a difference across different industries.
Perfect. Give me the highlights.
All right, well, let's start with healthcare, an industry that's, really ripe for disruption.
Okay.
Cloud computing is really transforming how medical data is managed and utilized.
You mean all those electronic health records, lab results, imaging files?
Exactly.
All that stuff that used to be buried in filing cabinets?
Yeah, all that. By moving this data to the cloud, hospitals and clinics can really streamline their operations, improve patient care, and even accelerate medical research.
So doctors can access patient records instantly, no matter where they are.
Exactly.
That's gotta be a game changer for coordinating care.
Absolutely. And think about the possibilities for research. With all that data readily available and easily analyzable, researchers can identify trends, develop new treatments, and potentially even predict disease outbreaks.
That's incredible. It's like cloud computing is helping us unlock the full potential of all this medical data that we've been collecting.
It is now shift gears to manufacturing.
Okay.
Think smart factories.
Right.
Where machines are interconnected, data is flowing in real time. Processes are optimized for, maximum efficiency.
Okay.
That's Industry 4.0, and cloud computing is really the backbone of this revolution.
So instead of each machine operating in isolation, they're all talking to each other, feeding data into the cloud.
Exactly.
Allowing manufacturers to make smarter decisions.
Precisely. They can reduce downtime, improve quality control, respond more quickly to changes in demand.
Yeah.
All thanks to the power of cloud-based analytics and artificial intelligence.
It's fascinating how these, physical manufacturing processes are becoming so intertwined with these advanced digital technologies.
It is, and it's not just healthcare and manufacturing.
Okay.
The financial services industry is undergoing a massive transformation, too.
Interesting.
Cloud computing is enabling banks and other financial institutions to process transactions faster, bolster their security measures, and personalize the customer experience.
I can see how speed and security are crucial in finance.
They are.
But how does cloud computing help create a more personalized experience?
Well, imagine getting financial advice and product recommendations that are tailored to your specific needs and goals.
Okay.
All powered by AI algorithms running in the cloud.
Wow.
That's the kind of personalization that's becoming possible.
It's like having a virtual financial advisor who knows you inside and out.
Exactly. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Cloud computing is touching nearly every industry you can think of, from retail to education to transportation.
Wow. It's really making me realize how pervasive this technology has become. We might not always see it,
Right.
but it's quietly powering so much of our digital world.
It's the invisible infrastructure that's enabling a whole new wave of innovation and possibilities.
Right.
And as cloud computing continues to evolve, its impact on our lives will only grow more profound.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the key takeaway for our listeners? What should they be thinking about as they go forth into this increasingly cloud-powered world?
I think the most important thing is to be aware cloud computing is not just a technology. It's a force that's reshaping industries, economies, even the way we live our lives.
Right. And as with any powerful tool,
Yes,
it's up to us to use it responsibly and ethically.
absolutely.
We need to be asking the tough questions about data privacy, security, the potential societal impacts of these technologies.
The future of cloud computing is not predetermined. It's something we're all shaping together.
And with that very thought-provoking note, I think it's time to conclude our deep dive.
I agree.
We've explored the hidden depths of Amazon, the dynamics of the cloud computing market, and the real-world applications that are transforming industries. It's been a pleasure.
It has been fascinating.
Until next time, keep those minds curious.